My name is Sunil Shah. I was born in Kisumu. Now don't laugh if I say fortunately or unfortunately, but fortune is there with me. I was born in Kisumu. I have a brother, I have a sister. The sister stays in America. Her husband's an oncologist. I did my primary in Kisumu, and for some interesting reason, in 1967, the government decided that people who are not citizens of this country would not be given trade licenses. Obviously, my family was citizens of this country, but the fear set in. So the first thing my parents did was to send me in 1968, in the month of February, to Britain. They said, you children start going while we begin to pack up here in Kisumu, and we'll catch up with you. So at the age of 14 and a half, I went to Britain, to school there, a completely new environment, Anyway, so I was enrolled into a simple public school at the age of 14 and a half. In February, the same month that we got there, and the first result that I got was #1 in grammar. I beat the English at their own game. And as we proceeded, I continued to stand #1 in grammar. And by virtue of the fact that I'm Indian, and the Indian, invented the zero, I used to come first in arithmetic. So one day, the teachers called me, those wazungus, and asked me, where did I study? Who was teaching you? What were the methods of teaching? Because they could not believe somebody coming from Africa now beating in English and in arithmetic and all that. So the point is, Central Primary School, this is where I studied, the government school, produced me in English and arithmetic to excel in Britain at their own game. That was fantastic. I felt very proud. The following year, 1969, again in the month of January, they put me into a swimming pool. Winter. It's a thin slate of ice. Made me jump. Coming from Kisumu, where we are 34 and 35 degrees Celsius. I did jump into it, but I said no more. So the first summer, that was July, when I came back to Kisumu, I looked for a doctor. Give me a letter. I can't swim in this damn thing. And he gave me a letter addressed to the school. He cannot swim in icy waters. I couldn't hack that. So, this is the truth. This is what the challenges were. It was quite an experience studying in those schools compared to what I had, a beautiful young life in Kisumu. Fantastic. I think I will carry that even into my second life. Kisumu was beautiful then. Kisumu was first time identified in 1848 by the British explorers Speke and Burton. And then the first British administration which came here set up this solid infrastructure in Kisumu. What you see here now is very solid. And the first railway line that came from Mombasa was, I think, 1901 or something. And this is where we began to grow and excel whatever we did in Kisumu. There was no light, no electricity when my father came at the age of 10 in Kisumu. And that was 1938. And he came with nothing. Anyway, having said that, that was the story. And then life went on, and he became a trader here, a simple trader. I can still show you the kiosk that he had in Kisumu, where he studied in front of that Hindu temple in the middle of the town. Then he went into Kisumu Boys, and then he went into business at the age of 19 and all that. It's all the story. And like all of us, we work to provide for our children and our families. So he did the same. Having said that, in 1968, he decided then that if the trade licenses are not going to be given, I better move to Nairobi for improving his business or earn more money or whatever. In the meantime, he shoved me and my brother into Britain, not knowing what I'm going to head. And at the age of 14 and a half, I was seriously bullied in schools by those Wazungus. But I think that was part of a good training when I look back, that it was hardship. And only hardship makes you a person. The cold. During Easter holidays, the school is closed. I have nowhere to go. I'm staying in that boarding school. The heaters are off. It's damn freezing. There's nobody to cook food because everything is closed. And I'm staying alone. And I didn't fear the question about security. I don't think those things were there. Insecurity was not there in Britain then, or London. I used to walk 3 kilometers from the school to the nearest town to go and find something to eat. And that was the journey that I went through. Interesting, as I look back. It was worth it. It was hard then, it was worth it. In 1973, I lost 2 cousins who were helping my father, by which time I had finished A-levels, and then I decided to help my father in the businesses, and decided not to go to the university in Britain, but help him, because morally and spiritually, he was really down. He was really down, and I said, I will now help him, and I took personal oath that until the day he dies, I'm going to stand by him. And that was from 1973. He then shoved me into a farm near Eldoret, near Moisbridge. I had no idea what farming was. They were farming sisal, wheat, maize, dairy, everything. And then politics set in. He ended up losing that farm. I don't need to dwell. The answer's on the wall. So I said to him, what do I do? He said, well, I have a small place in Kisumu, if you can do something there. So I come to Kisumu on Obote Road, where we are. It was a small place. And he gave me the bunch of keys. And I tried to open the lock, the padlock, it wouldn't open because it was already rusted. I went across, got some more used oil, put it in there. Next day I came and it opened, And then I started the journey. I got everything cleaned up. I then took a car. I didn't have a car. I just borrowed somebody's car. I went along Kakamega Obuye. I went around Kisi, getting farmers to supply me with maize and beans. And some small quantities started coming in. And I used to stand by the weighing scale. You bring in 5 bags, 10 bags, and I weigh it myself, round it to the perfect 90 kilos, 90 plus something. And then send it to somebody in Nairobi, sell it. The truck goes there and I follow the truck. I leave at 4 in the morning. The truck has left 6 in the evening before. We find ourselves at 8 o'clock at that premises of the customer. Quickly offload, give me the check. I come back driving in a small car like the Toyota Vitz, similar. Bank it. Then I have money. I pay the farmer who comes. And the farmer began to have confidence in me. That this guy, he says, and he means that. So more supply started coming. So then I had opened a current account at Kenya Commercial Bank. I hadn't borrowed anything. It was just a transaction of day to day. And then I walked in and I said, I want to see the manager, who was an Englishman, part of the National and Greenlight Bank, who were managing KCB then. He invited me and I said, look, I have this issue and I need some money. Sit down, have a cup of coffee, and I did. I said, now what? He said, I've already activated, you can draw up to $500,000 without any security. And that was a great pleasure. So I go back and I was doing more business and everything. Then my father, in the meantime, signed up in Nairobi, because he stayed there, to put a maize milling plant here. I had no idea what maize milling is. I then asked him what it is. He said, this is the product that people in Kenya eat, the sifted maize meal. And what happens? In 1978, in December, I got engaged. Because I was a young man. I was 24, 25 then. And I said, this is getting difficult to stay alone in Kisumu. I'm staying in a two-bedroom apartment above Bank of Baroda. I got married. And 29th of April, I got married and we went for honeymoon. And I didn't want to go anywhere else because the mill was being installed. And you won't believe it. On the third day of my honeymoon, and the honeymoon was at Mount Kenya Safari Club, my brother calls me. He says, we are about to start the mill. You better come back. So I came back. The mill was started, commissioned. And what happened? That very year, there was a serious drought in Kenya. I had no idea. There was no maize. People were actually coming to me and asking me. So I went to the cereals board here across, you know where it is, near the airport. Do you have any maize? He said, yes. How many? 300,000 bags. I said, can you reserve some more? Yeah, bring money, we'll reserve. I go to the bank again. And they facilitated me some money, more money than $500,000. This time they said, we'll have to secure. Okay, so what I had there was secured. I got maize. People were actually sleeping outside the mill. It was so bad. From Seme, from Ahero, from Katito, from Maseno, everywhere, Kakamega. Oh my God, I come in the morning at 7 o'clock, there's a huge queue. Anyway, so the milling went on and I sold them. It was price controlled. I could not charge anything extra. We milled. For 1 year it went on. I can't believe I freed the investment. And that inspired me and my father and says, you put a wheat mill. Because Gano is the next thing that people are going to eat. We started doing that. In 1981, I started the wheat mill. And people were consuming wheat flour. So one day my father comes in and he asked me, how much are you milling? I said, well, I'm not going to answer. You go down there where trucks are being loaded. And he looks at it. Trucks are being loaded. He comes up and gives me a story. That in 1965, some Indian, put a wheat mill in Nairobi, 1965, and he sent 5 bags of unga, or wheat unga, to my father who was a wholesaler here. And believe it or not, after 3 months, he sent 3 bags back because the people here were not used to wheat flour. But between 65 and 81, 82, I'm selling 1,200 bags a day. My father could not believe it. He could not believe it. It was just instinct. We did not have any professional studies or feasibilities done. It was basic knowledge and instincts, and to be brave about doing things and take the risk. And that's what has drove. As time went, now there's a demand for feed. So we put a feed mill. People were buying feed for poultry and cattle, and some Muzungu in Koru buying for his pigs and all that. Yeah, so things were going on. And then time came to put a bakery, because wheat flour, there's several kinds of wheat flour. What is called the plain flour, which you use it domestically, the 2 kilo. And there's a special flour for baking. It's very different in quality. The bakeries were asking us for flour. And one bakery said to me, I had given him goods worth 5 million shillings in those days on credit. He said, your flour is very bad. I could not believe it. I went there only to find they were being a bit mischievous because he wanted a credit note of some kind. I took a flight to London. I went to Peterborough, where Baker Perkins Company produces equipment. I went there. They didn't have any equipment to show me. Come back to London, I take a flight to Stuttgart, Germany. They had everything to show me. I came with a pro forma invoice. Next thing I come to Nairobi, apply import license, get the bakery going. What you know about United Bread, that's what I am. I took immense risks in business, but the risks were even greater. There were no skilled people here. On top and above, and I'm sorry to say, and perhaps I must say it, we had the most terrible government during that time. Horrible. I felt I might lose all this business one day. But we continued. We prayed to God to protect us from all this evil that was going on. Anyway, I then went and bought a second line to produce. Today we are producing close to 200,000 loaves of bread. It's all within Nyanza and Western. And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, why is manufacturing taking place in Nairobi only? It's been extended to Athi River and Thika. Why not Kisumu? Kisumu, for them, is a consumer market. We are almost 20 million strong from Nakuru this way. And many of you don't understand what that means. We're almost half Kenya's population. It's a big market. So what has happened, especially the Luo community, and I'll tell you honestly, you may correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Luo community have had anybody to hold their hand. And because there's nobody to hold their hand, they fear of going into doing things. And I can tell you one thing, don't fear. If you think you want to do something, you have a passion for it, go and do it. Don't fear. Remove the fear. You fear about borrowing money, you fear about doing a business. There's nothing like that. In us, the Indian community, we are business people, we have communities, we have leadership in our community, and the leader there is elected not because he's a rich man. Is he able to hold our hand? And this is what is lacking amongst the people here. Ask yourself, who will hold your hand when you need some help? And you now need to formulate something, or somehow, that you morally get very strong, feel strong, because there's somebody there who will hold your hand and get on with what you want to do, what your passion invites you to do. Don't fear. And I can tell you one thing, Kisumu and Kisumu County, you don't know, I don't think it's more than 2,000 square kilometers. Perhaps one of the small counties. But the potential is enormous, to the level where the Luo community can be the second richest tribe in Kenya. Why second and why not first? We are 50 years behind. It's obvious reasons. It's not your fault, but you can still achieve. And you are the people, the most learned. I've admired that. Very clever, very intelligent. But you have not had the strength to move forward because you don't have that person or the community to hold your hand. And that is what you now need to do. Get yourselves together and take what people say, the bull by the horn, and get on with what you want to do. Kisumu is strategically located. We have an airport, we have a new harbour coming up, the railway line coming. Tell me, does Kakamega have that? No. Does Kisii have that? No. Does Homa Bay have that? No. Does Kitale have that? No. Nakuru, no. You are the most strategically located. If you get your act right, all of these people in the Western will rely on us in Kisumu. Kisumu is the biggest consumer market of Kenya. You need to understand this thing. You need to be brave. You need to get here. And the Luos staying in Nairobi is obviously they went there because there was nobody to hold their hand here. They wanted their children educated. They went there. They got jobs in the civil service because they were the most educated tribe in Kenya during the colonial times. Okay? Having done that, got there, I even tell my Luo friends in Nairobi, if you come to Kisumu, you need a visa, and I'm the officer. I joke with them. That's my relationship with the people of this area. I mean well. And I think it's about time we even took this county in a very clever way and tell them, look, there's this opportunity or opportunities. We need to now create those platforms and drive forward for the future generations. It's immense potential here. I'm actually lost for words. We are not saying we need gold. We are not saying we need oil. We have you. You are the people who have the energy, and that is called oil. You have no reason why you will not work. You're capable of working. I have seen the Luos carrying not 190 kilo bag, even 2 on their shoulders. They're strong physically. I've come across graduates, intellect. I admire what they tell me. And I said, where is this thing being used? Nobody wants to salvage or harness and put to good use. Leadership. Somebody amongst you now need to get up and say, I want to improve Kisumu, Kisumu County, and collectively entire Western Kenya. It's not about politics. It's about improving your life. A good living. Opportunities there. I've done it. There's no reason why you can't do it. I started at the age of 24. I just finished 40 years in October last year, sitting in one place, delivering unga to all of you people, bread to all of you people. I did it. I did it in the middle of droughts. I did it in the middle of the election crisis. I was there. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't need to go to Uganda or London or India or wherever. I was here. Because I took ownership when I was born. I owed it. This is my place. So I stayed here. And you need to do the same. Don't run away from here. Come for it and deliver. Yes, we have lots to do. Whether you talk of medical, education, Kisumu, with the number of professors we have in these universities from Luo community, Kisumu can be made a seat of learning. You know, for example, Manchester, 30,000 students. The entire Manchester town thrives on 30,000 students. Why can't we do it? We have land. We have everything here, everything possible. And if we say water is life, we have Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is never going to die. I urge you, all you adults, get your children, get everybody, get the community together. Let us harness what is there ready, what the energy that we have, what the intellectual we have, and move forward. We don't have to do anything illegal. We'll do what is right and deliver. And I urge the audience to look at 3 things. If you want a good living like people live in Scandinavia, let's say it's top of the world, then look at three areas, what is called the World Law Index. Have a look at that on the internet. The second one is the Governance of Law Index. And the third one is called the Social Index. Social Index, if we practice on that area, it will be wonderful. Fantastic. Please, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at that, read it, and come up with ideas which suits us, which we can make it better. And you'll have wonderful life for your children and grandchildren. My company is a household name in Nyanza province and even parts of Western and parts of borders like Nandi, which touches us. I'm sure each one of you wanted to buy even one share in my company. And I can tell you one thing proudly. In 40 years, I've never made a loss. I have never made a loss. Even if it is this much profit, but I made this much profit. Number two, in 40 years, I've seen 40 factories, little, medium, and large, come and go. I have survived in the most harshest environment one can expect. I don't say harsh environment because of the Luo community, no. It was what the government of then, at that time, did. But we survived. Kenya Breweries was here, Kikomi was here, they're gone. The Kenya Breweries is back again. My bankers will go to Mumias Sugar first. Kenya Commercial Bank, executives first straight from the airport to Mumias. Then to Shemlil, Moroni, and finally they come to me on the way back to the airport to go to Nairobi. Where are those companies? Dead. So, why have I survived is because of good governance, good practices. I pay tax. I don't evade tax. That's not the way to do it. A good balance sheet lies on a company which has been paying tax. And today, if I were to offer this company for sale, I'll be a very, very rich man. I can tell you that. And purely because I practice very honestly. There is no such thing as karafu in my dictionary. It's honest, straight, down the line. Don't underestimate the potential that lies here. Get together, let's move forward and deliver. Thank you very much.